Hey, it says we are live with our Speed to Profit Marketing Wednesday Hangout the day before Thanksgiving, and everybody's out busy shopping, buying food and goodies. Rockstar Doctor, I love it. All right, so today we're going to talk about free stuff. And we're going to talk about, everybody in the internet marketing at least has heard the term moving the free line. And there's always been a lot of discussion about what that is, how much is too much, and are we giving away too much stuff? And so I thought I'd talk about that because the key isn't too much stuff, it's the relationship of value that you have to what you're giving away. And, oh, radio silence. Okay, until my MacBook recharges. All right. So Christopher, who's one of our guests today, is in radio silence for a moment. We have some others that might be joining us soon enough. But I want to talk about, it's funny because if our other guest, who's Manny, comes here, we're going to have another panel of 2 Harvard grads. Last night on my results on a Rampage Hangout, I had 3. I don't know why, they were all doctors. 3 Harvard doctors on my Hangout last night. Dr. Weta Brown, who is an orthopedic surgeon, and Dr. Vijaya Nair, who's a psychiatrist in New York, and then we had Dr. Manny on last night too. So I had 3 Harvard docs last night. 2 today, I'm not sure. Somebody, of course, made the quip, oh, I'm attracting Harvard docs, which, hey, I can think of worse people to have. Okay, so I'm seeing a video call, and I got to put the link in, so hold on just a second. Control copy, Control paste. And there you go, and I'm going to invite her. Looks like she wanted to come. So I'm going to put her in here. We'll add one more. And thank you for your patience. There we go. An invitation if she chooses to join. Perfect. So let's talk about the free line. What is moving the free line anyway? Well, moving the free line is a saying. It was, I don't know if it was invented in the internet world or not, but certainly came to prominence there, and Frank Kern and others use that as a saying that talks about giving away free stuff. So in other words, creating value. So think of it as free samples. So you go in Costco these days and there's free samples, and in fact they're prepared there by people, and they have sauces and other ingredients that make them really good, and you like them. So I love to go to Costco when they have sample time, right? Because I can go have lunch with all the free samples, and then I don't even need to have lunch, so that's kind of fun. Yeah, more sausages, please. That's how I feel. Sometimes there's a piece of sample that my wife doesn't like, but I do, and so I'll have her go get one for me, right? So I get more sausages, please. Absolutely. So that's free samples. Right? And in the internet world, it's hard because we're not talking to people and we're doing things online. So here's what we do to give free samples. We have free strategy sessions. Coaching, that's a big thing, right? Free business consultations. A free evaluation of your home security system. A free water test. Famous guys for the water guys selling water systems on the door, and that worked because I bought one. I have it still. And, you know, I saved him all the trouble, because I said to him, look, dude, you can save yourself 2 hours. Just tell me what you do, how much it costs. I know Phoenix water's hard, so let's just get this over with. And he looked at me like he'd never heard such stuff before. But, you know, those of you that know me would not be the least bit surprised that that was the conversation. It was pretty short. So I said, just go to the back of the book, please. He had that book with all the pictures. So the free samples approach is very powerful, very important, and it does several things. It gives the customer a chance to touch the product and see if it feels good. It gives you a chance to explain the benefits of the product and for them to experience those benefits. And more importantly than all those things, it gives them a chance to have an experience with you, particularly online, and particularly if you're providing a service more than a product. So in the consulting industry, where we're providing expertise, or in the coaching industry, where we're providing accountability and some degree of expertise, and there's a balance there where you cross the line from consultant to coach. Some people like to draw a line and say, you know, coaches never give advice and they only make the person ferret it out themselves, and consultants give advice, and in reality that line's really blurry. And when you go to some coaching schools like I did, they tell you never to cross that line, and that's nonsense, because I've been a consultant and I'm now a coach and have been for several years. But in my consulting role I often did a lot of coaching, and in my coaching role I do some consulting, and sometimes I make the distinction and don't. So they get to taste the product or sample it in some way. They get to experience the benefits of the product, and they get to have an experience with you to see if there's a match there, if they like you. Right now, we're in a place where liking people is really critical to making purchases. We all know that. There's a piece of us that wants to know someone. There's a piece of us that wants to feel comfortable. There's a piece of us that wants to have that know, like, and trust. And so that's what that's one of the things that business is made out of these days, is establishing that know, like, and trust factor. Moving the free line is just exactly about that. Now, all of you that watch this broadcast regularly know that every Wednesday I do a free hangout for Speed to Profit Marketing, and it is my marketing. It is an opportunity for you to experience me as a potential mentor. So it is, you know, I'm very open about it. It is my marketing outreach. It is an opportunity for me to teach and for you to experience me both personally in my teaching and coaching style, and an opportunity for you to experience some of the value that I create for my clients. So let's talk about, and that's why I do them. I do the Break the Cage on Saturday. I do Speed to Profit Marketing on Wednesday, and last night I did Results on a Rampage, and last night's Results on a Rampage was a celebration mostly of the authors that had just completed the two-day book challenge last weekend. Today, our title, of course, is Moving the Free Line, and I want to talk about that because it is so important and so misunderstood. Moving the free line, or giving away free products or free service samples like Costco, is not just giving away free stuff. It is an intentional engagement action to arouse the potential client or prospect's curiosity, to satisfy a need that they actually have, and to give them a positive experience with you. So if you just give them stuff, they'll thank you for your stuff, and then they'll be on their way. Okay? The stuff that you give them needs to be directly related to what you do in a powerful and obvious way. So giving, you know, trinkets away that are not related, I see people do that all the time. You'll get a free this, that, and the other. That's fine, and I'm grateful for free stuff, but it has nothing to do with me wanting to do business with you. So one, it needs to be very related to the problem that they're looking to solve, and it needs to be as interactive as possible. So for example, if I give something free away that somebody else created because it's cool, that's nice, but it doesn't give them an experience with me. So the free stuff I give away, in consulting and coaching, it's often a strategy session or a business evaluation session, needs to focus on how can I interact with this person in a meaningful way. Now, if it's a report, or if it's something written, or a video, one or two or three videos that you give away, it needs to be done again with an intentional strategy in mind to increase the level of interaction and increase the level of emotional engagement. So I draw three stages. I talk about, first you get permission, which is opt-in, and then you get emotional engagement, and then emotional involvement, and then emotional commitment. So I go through engagement, involvement, commitment. And if you structure your free stuff in a path like that to intentionally create increasing emotional engagement and then ultimately emotional dependence, and I don't mean that in a bad way like codependence, but I mean the client actually then, to solve the problem, feels like, wow, I can't really see my way forward without the help that you offer. That's the powerful place where you become the answer, not just another option. So let's address some of the specific questions. Before I do, I have an esteemed guest of wow, here we are again, one more time, a different set than last night, but all three Harvard pros, I think. So amazing that we have, I seem to be the Harvard magnet these days. So any comments from anyone that's on the panel about what I've said so far before I jump into the questions I had?
I like it, and it refreshes my memory of some of the stuff that we discussed during the intensive.
All right, good. Because moving the free line, or giving free stuff away, or giving free samples at Costco is critical. People don't just walk in, especially if you're doing higher ticket products and services. If it's something over 20 or 30 or 50 or $100, then it gets into, well, that's an actual investment. And so we need to do it in a way that is meaningful and resonates with them. All right, perfect. Anybody else? Dr. V or Dr. Weta, do you have any comments about what we just talked about? Okay, let's go to the first question. So the first question, I wrote down that number one, free stuff versus marketing. Okay, so I talked about that just a little bit. Free stuff is like I'm giving away free things to make you like me. So I'm going to give you, like Santa Claus, so I'm going to give you some free, a coupon for restaurant coupons, or I'm going to give you something that is valuable intrinsically, and so people want it, and they come to do that. But if you use that as an opt-in mechanism, it's weak. And people that use that as an opt-in mechanism are doing it because they can't think of something, or they either don't know, which is a terrible loss of opportunity, or they're weak in their position. They don't think really they have something valuable to give away, or they're afraid that they're going to be giving away too much, and if I give this away, I won't have anything to sell. So I've heard all three of those, so let's address them all specifically. Free stuff versus marketing. I have, is there such a thing as too much, in my third question, so we'll deal with that in depth there, but I'm going to address them all now. Giving stuff just because people like it, a free ice cream cone, a $10 bill, whatever, inherently there's nothing, quote, wrong with that, but it's not very good marketing. Okay, you're viewed as a free you're a giveaway person. Everybody comes to expect free stuff from you. It is unrelated to the value that you bring or the problem that you elegantly solve, and so it's kind of a so what deal, and certainly not good marketing at all. Okay, you can enhance something that you have. If you give away something that's related to your product or service and you enhance it with a freebie that's kind of cool, then that's different. You could do that. Okay, but it needs to be related to your marketing first of all. And if you're not doing it related to your marketing and in a way that gives them some kind of interaction, then that's a huge opportunity missed. The second piece is I'm giving it away. I don't know that I'm supposed to do this. So this is the education piece of today's webinar, or excuse me, Hangout, and that is if you don't realize that you should be giving something away that's intensely related to what you teach and interactively related to what you teach. So intensive means it's valuable in its own right. You don't give away fluff and garbage. There's too much of that. So some old, same old report that says the same old stuff, that's not useful. Valuable and as interactive as possible, and what I mean by that is not that there's buttons to push, but that it reflects your unique view and positioning. If it doesn't reflect your unique view and positioning, again, you're missing an opportunity, because the point is to establish know, like, and trust. And if they're not doing something, if they're not touching or feeling something related to you or your method or your thoughts or your feeling or your unique value, who do they know, like, and trust? Well, not you, because it's not related to that. So you're missing that opportunity. The third piece, the reason people don't do it is because they're afraid they're giving away the store. I'm giving away the store, what have I got left to sell? That is a problem in two ways. One, it's a problem for people who just are starting, and they're afraid that they don't have enough, that their stuff isn't deep enough, and they want to jump in line with the big boys and sell products for $1,000, $2,000 and big ticket items, and they have some very genuinely good ideas. But they're afraid that if they give them away, they're not deep enough. In other words, they don't have any bench depth, if you're talking sports, right? There's no bench depth, so, wow, I gave you away my starters and I'm dead. You're going to get behind the curtain and say, who are you, right? That comes from actually not being very deep, which means you need to get busy and get your status ramped way up. Or it comes from a scarcity mindset, which says, I'm not really that good and you'll find me out. Sometimes people call that the imposter's syndrome. I've suffered with that, where I've been on a world-class stage talking to expert doctoral economists from Harvard and Stanford and everything else, and I'm chosen to give the lecture, right? And I'm sitting here thinking, my degree's in business administration. I don't have a doctorate in anything and whatever, but I'm chosen because I was the world-class market designer, and I was speaking to this room full of names that I'd heard from all over the world at a gathering at Stanford one time. So that feeling is real, and the I don't have enough is related to imposter syndrome, they'll find me out, or it's related to simply a scarcity mindset where I just believe there's not enough. Both of those are not a problem. They are actually not. They're coaching issues. They're issues about stuff between your head. I don't have time to do all of the coaching necessary right now to get around that problem, but they are. It's solvable. There is no such thing as scarcity. And one of the ways that I finally came to realize that is this. Whatever it is that I coach mindset, skill sets, and assets. So whatever is going on, it is always dynamic and developing. So skill sets need to be sharpened and developed. Assets need to be refined and recreated. Mindset is an eternal process moving against the energetic inertia that keeps us sitting in one place and not really taking action, kind of dabbling around the corners. Well, I'm going to do this one of these days. I'm going to, all of those things can be addressed, but they're all a continuing issue. Mindset is something that we work on regularly because environment changes, input changes, and our own feelings change. Skill sets need to be sharpened and refined continually, and our panel is going to have a lot to say about that, I hope, just as they think about the doctors, the requirements of the medical profession or the chiropractic profession in getting themselves up to speed and staying up to speed with the latest things, especially in light of the fact that people surf the internet and come in thinking they know more than the doctor. And assets are things that you create. I look at websites and documents and things I created a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and I look at them thinking, I really need to refine that. One, I need to change the way it's said, and two, I don't even know I agree with myself exactly. I need to refine it a little bit more. And so that's a continuing process of development. And so the notion that once you give away your good stuff, you're dead is simply, on its face, not true. All right, so that's the end of question one about free stuff versus marketing. I'm going to take an opportunity here and open it up to the group and see if they have anything to say about skill sets, mindset, assets, or any of that good stuff. Comments, folks?
Well, mindset is everything. So you can't even make it in the door without mindset, because it's that pearls before swine thing, where if you're not helping someone update their mindset to the point where they can see the relevant, useful things in front of them, and that changes constantly with new technologies and new framing of the technology, then they're not even ready to jump in to compete.
Totally right, and agree. So I have a question, and one or all of you may answer. Christopher says he's still in a broadcast place where he can't do it, so that's fine. What about the thing about patients coming in? I've heard this from a couple of doctors. Patients coming in thinking they know more than the doctor, and they're all ready to tell you what's wrong, and maybe they know something and researched it, but that interaction is way different than it used to be just a few years ago. Manny, what's your experience with that in terms of you did a lot of psychiatric work and anything with relating to doctoring about patients coming in, quote, all tuned up, knowing more than the doctors?
Of course, they're going to know more about their personal condition than you do, because as a physician, you learn sort of cluster science. You learn the averages, you learn the general expectations. And someone comes in and they tell you they're having symptom A, B, C, and D, and not the other ones, and maybe they have a symptom related with something entirely different, and they've had a lifetime experience of looking through it, experiencing it. And actually in our science, there's a problem where if it's not listed on the diagnoses or it's not listed as something reportable, we act like it doesn't even exist. So a lot of patients online and in forums are able to build relationships and deeper understandings in their disease than we can in a laboratory or in a classroom thumbing through pages by exchanging information, social learning.
So do doctors sometimes get intimidated and freaked out by someone that's come in pretty well informed?
I think it comes down to the nature of your relationship with the patient. If you're one that likes the power dynamic where me doctor, you patient, grr, where you want someone in a subjugated position, then it's threatening to see that identity threat. But if you realize that this is a human being coming to you with a trust because they know you've put some time in, and what they're coming to you for is guidance, not to challenge your authority, not to threaten you or not to sue you for malpractice or whatever other paranoia, then you're able to listen to the person, get their input, adjust your own beliefs, and kind of provide them some of the info that you have. And it becomes what in therapy we used to call collaborative empiricism, where you're there to help the person share reality.
So I want to take that just exactly the way he said it, and I want to engage it and enlarge it to all of marketing for any product. Solving the patient or the client's problem is a shared experience because they have a nuanced version of whatever problem it is. So, for example, let's say someone can't attract a tribe, or they can't get people to opt in, or they're not clear about their real value, or they're trying to appeal to too broad an audience. They have been trying something, or they wouldn't be laying out money to talk to you. They wouldn't be there saying, tell me something. I mean, there's some lazy people that say, give me a button, I want to push it. I'm not talking about those people. I tell them to go away anyway, because real life isn't like that. But there are people who come and they've tried certain things, and if you don't listen and do that co-created solution Manny talked about, where you're working together to achieve the outcome that you want, you're a lousy consultant and you're a lousy coach, because you have to understand what's going on in their mind and with their actual efforts before you can do anything useful anyway. Now that's perfect, and it leads us right into number 2, which is, I was speaking there as if you already had a client, but this is the marketing part, creating value in marketing. So one of the things I read in a marketing letter the other day that I loved, it was really long, it was one of those long form, it's 12,000 words, like literally a little pamphlet, right? 12,000 word marketing letter, and what it was talking about was marketing. And the principle that it was teaching, one of the principles, there were several, was that your marketing itself should be valuable. In other words, the marketing videos that you do should have intrinsic value beyond the leading of someone through that sequence of know, like, trust to where they're ready to pay you. So many people create marketing, and the only goal of the marketing is to get you to get out your credit card and give me some cash. No. The first and authentic true value of marketing is to do some good. So your marketing itself must have value. And value in 2 ways. One, it's excellent marketing, so other people should look at it and go, wow, I wish I could write that good, or do that good of videos, cool. And toward the potential prospect who has a problem. It's valuable. They look at it and say, wow, if I could do these 3 things, I'd be better. And then the feeling is, I trust this person. He's already giving me some cool stuff. He's solving some problems. I wonder if he knows that this free stuff's more valuable than the crap I paid $97 for last month. That is a good place to be, because the feeling then is, you know what, if this dude or gal is giving away stuff that's better than the stuff I paid $197 for in the 3-part course that I bought last month, what the heck else is there in the course that he's selling? When you're in that place, then you create a feeling of, hey, I got to have some of this. And that's a neat place to be. I had somebody actually say to me once, I don't know what you're selling, but whatever it is, I'm buying. He actually said that to me, and he said it because just the interaction we'd had provided him with enough value that he said, I don't know what you're selling, but I'm buying. And he knew because we'd had some conversation. But that was his reaction, was it was so good. I don't know what you're selling, but man, I'm buying. And that's because it was a valuable interaction. So number 2, part number 2 that we're talking about is intentionally create value with your marketing. Value beyond the leading of them through the funnel to give you cash, but intentionally create value and think about it as you're creating it. Okay, perfect. I'm going to open it up again. I see Christopher's now joined us in real life and face. Welcome, Dr. San Diego.
Yeah, Dr. Diego. Where in the world is Carmen?
Yeah, sorry in the world is Carmen San Diego. Well, Carmen's in San Diego. So about that creating value piece, any comments from the folks on the panel, or we can move on to question 3?
Well, Kellan, I saw it. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, when you talked about earlier about patients who are coming in and intimidating doctors with their WebMD printouts or whatever the heck it is, I've also seen that work with the physicians from whom I've rented space in the DC area, where patients come in demanding certain pharmaceuticals, and the physician feels the pressure to fulfill that request for the fear of losing the patient over not giving them the latest and greatest drug.
Totally agree. And again, that's not a co-created relationship. That's a relationship where the patient has usurped the power and says, I'm going to make you do something. You're simply the thing standing in the way, and that little pad on your desk between what I know I need and you're going to give it to me, or I'm going to, I don't know, do something bad to you or whatever, right?
Oh, someplace else. I mean, it's the co-creative relationship is the one that's ideal, where you're partnering with a physician But for the most part, medicine's been pretty paternal and pretty hierarchical. You know, they're like, come to the oracle. Let me give you your blessing and go forth.
That sounds like a religious overtone in advance of Thanksgiving.
Well, it
so
is, because the priest physicians were the original ones. So.
Can I make a comment?
Please do, Wita.
I actually have an interesting perspective because being a physician and a patient, when I tore my meniscus, I saw two doctors because I can't operate on myself, which said, "Oh, it's just friend, it's something else," and I'm like, "It's something else going on with my knee." So the third physician I saw actually believed me when they got in there. It actually was a tear. So it's like I experienced it, I guess, from both sides, as far as the doctor really not listening to me because I knew my body and something was wrong. Anyway, I just wanted to share that perspective.
Thank you. That's a fabulous example, and it's interesting the doctor as patient. You know, you'd think that a doctor would pay attention to a doctor, but obviously a doctor thought they knew better than the doctor who owned the problem, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, Kellan, I've got a funny about that because what I find is I usually want to delay. If I'm going to see a doctor, I want to delay them finding out that I'm a physician also, because then it becomes a competition of measuring male organs. You know, it's the whole interaction is them guarding their territory, them just it's almost a battle, you know, because they're not really listening to you as much as trying to. If you get the right toxic person, they're trying to find a way to undermine your knowledge before they even try to help you.
But that's a sad commentary. So all three of you have made appropriate and valuable comments from the perspective of doctoring, which we have done on purpose, and with a panel full of doctors, that makes sense. But I want to pull it back now to marketing, and I want you to think about, as business owners, your need to co-create that relationship with your clients. I don't care what you're doing. I mean, Mandy's looking at doing other things, Dr. Brown's looking at doing other things, and Dr. Vogelman's looking at doing other things. So all three of you are looking at other opportunities and options to either expand or replace some of the traditional medical practices, and that's great. One-to-many, or doing something entirely different, or whatever it is, but the nature of what you're describing, co-creating, people knowing better than you do, the power struggle that goes on, all of that goes on sometimes in somebody's mind. They don't want to admit they don't know, they don't want to admit they need help, you know, all of that goes on in potential clients' minds, and you have to sort of work with and co-create that relationship. And obviously there's a limit, and you end it if it doesn't work. So I'm not saying any of that, but that approach is what's really powerful. We've got one question left that I had outlined of the three to start with, and that is there such a thing as too much? So let's just say that the answer is yes. If you freely gave every single piece of content that you had, recorded 1,000 coaching videos, and you know, wrote everything out in enormous detail and put 1,000 one-hour-long videos up and gave it all away, that's probably too much. On the other hand, I would say no, that's still not too much, and the reason is because nobody will consume that, no one will use it to its advantage, and it's going to, of necessity, be too general for anyone's specific use. So I'm going to change my first answer and go from yes to no. No, there's no such thing as too much. And the reason there isn't, and I want you to listen to this carefully who are watching this, whatever you give as a free line is going to of necessity be general, because you're not working with a certain business at that moment. You're not working with a certain person with whatever issues are in these 6 inches between your ears. You're not doing that. And so of necessity, even if you focused it down to one avatar, which is what I teach, of necessity it's not going to apply to a given situation. And besides that, every single person knows as a fact that they are unique, and that nothing else that anybody ever did anywhere under any circumstances applies to them. We all feel that way. So let's just say that that's true. Okay. Then if that's true, there cannot be any such thing as too much. So any client that I work with that says to me, I can't do that, I can't do it because I don't have that much time, yeah, all those are good reasons. Because nobody will buy from me after that. There's a million, literally, well, maybe not a million, 1,000 at least, other reasons that they won't buy from you besides that one, that are way up in front of the line. So the idea that you have to safely guard your stuff and you can't give it away because it's too much is nonsense. I have yet to work with a client, and I have worked with thousands, who are in a position that they actually were considering giving away something in their free line that was going to literally damage their business. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. People will always need three things, no matter how much information you give them, and this is worth writing down. People will pay not for information, shortcuts, hand-holding, accountability. Shortcuts, how to use the information that's everywhere and free faster. Hand-holding, which means I'm going to show you how to do it, help you with it if you need to. And accountability, which is you said you were going to do this week. How are you coming? That's what is valuable, because those three things are the way to get stuff done fast.
I pay for those.
Yeah, you do pay for them.
I do.
I mean, that's all that's valuable. Information you can find anywhere. You can go on the internet and figure out how to make an atom bomb. Okay, fine. Shortcuts, hand-holding.
Get that plutonium. I need the shortcut to get the plutonium.
Yeah, the shortcut to the plutonium, U-238 or whatever it is, U-235. Okay, that is the end of the things that I wanted to talk about today. Open it up to the panel for last comments, tomatoes, or other thoughts. Thank you to my esteemed and outrageously cool panel of doctors. Wow, we got doctor everything today. A psychiatrist, an orthopedic surgeon, and a chiropractor. Holy moly, from everywhere. So thank you all. Any comments?
Thanks, Kellan. That's it.
You are welcome.
I do appreciate that. I mentioned in the comment section too, you know, if you ever watch Gordon Ramsay with his restaurant makeovers, he always has the owner or the staff giving away free food outside the front of the restaurant.
It's funny.
There's no fear that they're going to eat all the food in the restaurant.
Yeah, there isn't. And the funny thing is that big long sales letter that I talked about, this is my last point here, the guy talked about being in Europe and a very successful ice cream store, and his most successful tactic was standing out in front and giving people samples of ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And that was his revelation. Holy cow, I've got to give away samples to make people like my stuff. Any other comments?
It's good stuff.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of the word free anymore. It's no longer a four-letter word. It's a different
Thank you.
F
We'll
word.
see you next.
It's a different F word. Yeah.
A different F word. All right. We'll see you next week on Speed to Profit Marketing. Join me Saturday for Break the Cage.